Hi guys, welcome in. Friday, actually today's not a Q&A, today is a workshop. I am super excited to walk you guys through a branding workshop. I see quite a few of you guys jumped over into this community to get free access to this, and this is something I love teaching just because I feel like if you don't know your brand, if you don't know who you're speaking to, if you don't know like your own aesthetics, it can cause a lot of confusion. And confusion in the online space leads to your customers, your audience being confused. So let me help you get some clarity around this. I am just organizing my little ebook as you guys are popping in. Just make sure, where are they? So as you pop in, say hi. Let me know who's hanging out with me live today. I like to know who I'm chatting with, and let me know what you're most excited to learn about. I have so many tips and tricks on branding in general, and just honestly knowing what your aesthetic is, and I'll even teach you guys some really cool little tricks that I do with one-drop content to make it into my brand, which you can do for yourself obviously too after this class. So, hi Maggie, thanks for joining me. I printed out this ebook and I ran out of printer paper, so I had to print it on like labels. So it got all messed up as it fired out of my printer. So that's what I'm just organizing real quick. So that way we can walk you through this. So listen, this is the thing. I created a custom ebook for you guys with this because I am so much of a like visual person too, as especially this is a very creative process, right? So, hey guys, hey from Spain, hey Lori, hey Stephanie. Looking to find out how many stories, reels, photos, lives to find my people. Ooh, that's a great question. Yeah, we'll dive deep into that. So once you understand your branding though, this becomes really fun. This is where I feel like a lot of people, when they don't really know who they're talking to, when you don't really have your voice and you don't really know what to post. How many of you guys have sat there and been like, oh, I don't really know what to post. I know I should post, but I don't really know what to post. Hey Tracy, hey Natalie, hey Ruby, hi babe, hey Allison. So that's what I want you guys to walk you guys through with this stuff is, let me show you how to not get stuck in that like creative paralysis where you're like, I know I should post. Keely told me I should post, but I just don't really know. Or even worse is you write up a whole post and you're like, this is dumb. How many of you guys have done that? How many of you guys have done that where you've written up a full post and you're like, this makes no sense, and it's actually like, there's no point to this, right? So, hey Becky, hey Chantel, hey guys. Okay, I think we are actually good now. Yes. Okay, so let's get started. Again, this ebook is going to be a free subscription download. So you do have to have a one-drop subscription to download this. It'll be linked up after this class. I'm gonna walk you guys through it first, and then, let me try to get a little bit better lighting. So I'm gonna walk you guys through it first, and then you guys can jump over and download the ebook, again, for free if you have a one-drop subscription, and you can walk yourself through this. So this is even a really good exercise if you have people on your team who are wanting to show up in the online space and they're wanting to figure out their brand, okay? So, okay, let's go ahead and rock and roll. So this is what the ebook's gonna look like. It's called Branding for Beginners, okay? So as you are getting started, I want you to know that you're in the right place. If you know you want to build a business online, okay? So if you're like, I just want to do classes in person, this probably isn't the right workshop for you, okay? Cheers, coffee. This is all about figuring out your niche in the online space, but you have no idea how to put yourself out there and what attracts followers and customers to you. If you're like, I'm ready, Put me out there, coach. If you want to learn how to visually represent your business online, so this is actually pretty cool. I'm not just teaching you about doTERRA. I'm actually teaching you about the brand of you, which is like the heartbeat behind anything you do in your life, especially in the online space, okay? If you're finally ready to put in the work by discovering who you are, who your customers are, and how to leverage the power of social media. So we're going to start with, there's 5 different parts to this. We're going to start with why. And not like, tell me your why, but more so, what's your story behind why you even want to share doTERRA oils? And not necessarily like, oh, I want to, your story might be, these oils changed my life in this respect. Like with my daughter, she had a cold all the time. I used oils on her. They worked. I felt empowered, right? But my why is actually the mom, corporate working mom, who is literally exhausted, wants something better for her baby, wants to feel empowered in her own home, and wants to know what she's putting on her kid's body is natural, safe, and effective. Okay? She's exhausted. She wants something quick and easy. And so that persona is my actual why. Does that make sense? So it's not necessarily your story, but it's what is driving you to take action in this business, okay? So key points, your why is going to be ever changing. I will say actually my why though, that mom who's kind of struggling, she has stayed pretty standard. My financial whys have completely changed, but this is a foundational piece of your business. This is a foundational piece of the drive behind. Y'all think that your motivation, especially how many of you guys jumped into doTERRA and you're like, I'm going to become a diamond. I'm going to do all the things. And for like the first 2 to 3 months, you're like, heels to the ground, shifting into second gear, loving all the things. And then all of a sudden you realize like, oh my gosh, I actually have to like work this as a business. And so I feel like it's really important to know what's going to drive you past the hard times. It's really easy and really fun to do this business when it's easy and fun. That being said, it's not always easy and fun. Nothing you do in your life is always easy and fun. Sometimes things, even that you love, will take hard work, okay? So key thing to remember is your why should drive you through the hurdles in your business, okay? Now let's talk about your ideal client, because this is actually a piece that I feel like nobody ever taught me and nobody ever talked about. I actually found this in a lot of like marketing type of courses that I've purchased, like online marketing type of courses, is knowing your ideal client. So your ideal client avatar, and I'm not talking like your blue person, the blue people, your actual avatar is a detailed profile of your ideal customer or business partner. Now, this is the thing. They might have a lot of overlapping qualities, but my business partner has a few more details than my ideal client, okay? So, you don't want to make assumptions and you don't want to do like super broad generalizations within this. This is an in-depth overview of who you want to attract into your work. Now, this is where you're going to take a notepad, or I honestly find it more powerful if you write this down. And I know I have probably a lot of techie people who are like, I can keep the notes in my phone and I do everything online. Grab a pen and paper, okay? You're gonna write this down. So you're gonna brain dump the characteristics about your ideal client. So think about it this way. If you were to go out to lunch or coffee, or maybe go out and have a play date or whatever. If you're gonna go hang out with friends and talk about oils, who would you be around? Who are the people who would be at your table? Who are the people that you would invite? Who are the people who you would hope invite you, right? So, and I'm talking detailed characteristics, like what do they do for a living? Why are they searching for your offer now? Whether it's to do the business with you or it's to natural options, like why now? What objections do they have about your product or lifestyle? So what is the thing that's kind of holding them back? And again, a lot of times we will actually, as like human beings, we actually shy away from the objections. Like, I just want a customer who's just already sold on the natural lifestyle. But there's always going to be those underlying objections. And if you address them in your ideal client, in your ideal avatar, then when they come up, you can confidently respond to them, okay? Everyone's a skeptic, and they should be, especially nowadays, right? So what are common objections that they're going to have? What are questions that you can answer for them? Where do they hang out online? This is super important, okay? So like my ideal avatar, my ideal builder is in the Instagram space, because that's the space that I like to be in, okay? So where is your person? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on Facebook? Where are they in the online space? Okay, where, like, if they have 30 minutes to kind of like numb out and just like scroll, where are they scrolling? Okay. How do they like to spend their free time? Do they have kids? Do they have grandkids? Are they single? Are they childless? What challenges are they facing? That's really important too. Because if you know what challenges they're facing, like for me, a lot of my leaders are moms who want something more out of their lives. Whether they're working a corporate job or they're at home with their kids, they just want something that is theirs, that they can identify with. That is like, you know, if you're at home with the kids, husband comes home and it's like, okay, I'm going to go work my business for a few hours because this is mine. And I'm not a mom, I'm not a wife. My identity is I'm a business owner and I'm the CEO of my company, okay? So, who is your ideal client? Now, when you're unraveling this too, I want you to get super, super detailed, because energetically, when we get more and more detailed of what we want to attract into our life, God knows how to pull those people into our lives, okay? But if you're just like, oh, I just want a 35-year-old successful, influential woman. Like, okay, cool. But does she have kids? What kind of clothes does she wear? What kind of car does she drive? What's her income level? What if she could spend $500 on anything, what would she buy? You know, who does she spend her time with? Where does she spend her time? What is she listening to on Audible? What's important to her? What core values are important to her? And I know that might feel so detailed, and oftentimes your ideal avatar is the you of like a few years ago or 6 months ago. Oftentimes because we've learned what we've learned, because we've grown as individuals, we are able to turn around and be that lighthouse for the people behind us, for the you that you wish somebody would have like kind of lit the path for in front of you. Does that make sense? So you're going to brain dump who they are, what they're looking for, what they're struggling with, where do they hang out online, what objections do they have, and how can you create solutions? And I created just blank pages in here for you to do so. Okay, so part 3, let's talk about creating your brand. Now, I want you guys to answer these. These are on your ebook again, but I want you guys to answer these because this is going to be like the meat of the like sandwich of what your brand is, okay? And I want you to answer this in like a genuine way, and I'll give you a few different ways to like do a little bit of research behind this, okay? So what does your business do? Now, most of you are like, but Keely, I have an essential oil business. You already know what they do. Great, I know what they do, but what does it do? Like, who is your community that you're impacting? Are you a yoga teacher who wants to empower yogis to have another stream of income coming in because you know the struggle of teaching day to day and know that if you're not teaching, you're not making money, right? Are you a business owner who knows what it's like to spend 50, 60 grand a month on overhead and maybe make some good money, but you also know the strain of having a massive business, overhead, employees, and all that, and you want the time freedom, right? You want to be able to work from the beach if you want to work from the beach, right? You don't want to have to check into a brick and mortar business. So when I ask you what your business does, what I mean behind that is like, what does your community look like? The second question is, what is your mission? What is your mission? Who are you looking to empower? Who are you looking to change their lives? What is your brand personality? Now, when I speak about this, if you were to explain your brand as a human being, and I know this might feel a little bit weird, but we just went through this with our assistant with OneDrop. Is like, what's important? What's important to your brand? You know, is she Is she somebody who, and it doesn't even need to be a she, it can be a he, do you boo, but is she somebody who is forward thinking? Is she somebody who's creative? Is she somebody who, you know, loves to nurture on people? Is she somebody who loves to send little gifts here and there? Is she somebody who is just a boss babe CEO? Like, what is the personality? If you were to encompass your brand into a human being, what would you give, like what personality traits would you give it? Okay. What is your story? So when you're talking about your story behind your brand, like this is where your story is impactful, okay? Because your story is motivational. I don't care if you are making $100 with doTERRA, if you're making $1,000, if you're making $100,000 with doTERRA. Your story is motivational because guess what? You are already 2, 3, 5, 20 steps in front of the person who is looking at you, praying for some type of financial relief, praying for some type of healing relief, right? So what's your story? What adjectives would you use to describe your brand? What colors do you feel best fit your brand? Now, a really cool way that you can figure this out is go into Pinterest and you can actually create a Pinterest board. I just want you to search out things that like you're personally drawn to. You know, like maybe you're drawn to nature and trees, and maybe you're drawn to birds, and maybe you're drawn to I don't know, textures like woods, or, you know, maybe it's more metals. Like, what are you drawn to? When you start to slow your scroll in the online space, why is it? What is it about that person's, the way they post, the pictures they post, that makes you slow down? You can also notice this through your house, actually. If you look through your house, if you've decorated your own home, you will actually see a theme throughout your house of things that you love and things that you find comfort in, okay? Colors that you love, right? And so in your Pinterest board, what you're gonna do is you're gonna create and you can make it secret, but you can create a board that basically represents your brand. What are things that you love in your brand? And from that board, then you can pull out the colors, and I'll show you how to do this in Canva, but you can pull out the colors that you're like, oh, I really like this. I really like these colors, okay? So this is how you can come up with your color scheme. And this is another thing, is don't worry about what other people's color schemes are. If you love pinks, do pinks. If you love purples, do purples. If you love, you know, teal and mustard yellow, do teal and mustard yellow. Sometimes we'll look at somebody else's branding, and you don't want to take someone's branding, don't get me wrong. But like, if you like the way that somebody else is doing something, you can always take it and tweak it to what you love, okay? Oh, hey girl, hey. So, find your color skews, and this is really cool because once you understand what like your color skews are, then you can basically create a theme on your page, on your brand page, that looks very cohesive and complementary. Not like cookie cutter, but very just like complementary. You ideally want to have at least 5 to 6 colors in your branding, okay? So oh, there's a little typo in here. How would you describe your business to a friend, and how would you describe your business to a complete stranger? It's interesting to me how many people still struggle with like even like an elevator pitch, right? So if you're not comfortable telling people what you do for a living with doTERRA, you need to spend some time on that. And that's because you have confusion around your brand, okay? So once you get more clarity around your brand and what your mission is, then it's really easy to fire off what you do in your business, okay? Hey girl. Okay, so you're gonna brain dump. If your brand was a business, what would they be like? You're gonna also write down words that you would use to describe your brand. I normally would pick 5, but like things like outgoing, bright, spunky, boho, chic, luxe, rebellious. Like what are some adjectives that describe your brand? And again, this is all just to help you get so much clarity around how you want to show up in the online space. And it'll also help with your storytelling behind this. Okay. So, okay. So number 4 is finding your vibe. How do you actually showcase your brand visually? So if you could welcome a friend into your space, how would you want them to feel? What would you want them to see? Are you casual and approachable? Do you have plants throughout your house that end up in all of your photos? Do you love the look of handwritten fonts, or perhaps you like more of like a minimalist font? Brain dump elements that you connect with your brand. Again, if you're a plant girl and you love having plants all over your house and you tend to find that, you know, the more plants, the better, then that's probably a little piece of your brand, okay? And this is why this is important, because I want you to feel like your brand is your home. I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I can, if I need to, take a picture on my phone and post it on the fly. And because my brand is me, you don't get that hesitation of like, oh shit, this doesn't really go with my aesthetics and it doesn't flow. And I can't tell you how many people stop themselves from posting because of aesthetics. Even with our massive one-drop library, it's like, but I have a specific brand that I like to stick to. So if I don't have the time to sit down and brand things, then I don't post, which is so detrimental. Okay. So this is why, if you can get your branding down, and I'll share with you guys a couple other apps that we use to help with branding, but you want to understand what your vibe is, okay? And this is the other thing, is sometimes you can look at other people who are successful in doTERRA and think like, oh my gosh, I need to be like them. I need to post, you know, I mean, you might even be looking at my social media thinking like, I need to post like that. You know, she does handwritten fonts and this and that. And it could be an aesthetic you're attracted to, but if that's not you genuinely, you're gonna create a emotional block around your social media. And the reason why that's important is because actually when energetically you post on social media and you're like, I don't really love it, but it goes with my aesthetic, so whatever. Like you're just like a little bit negative about it, then energetically your post won't land. I promise you. Like it might sound crazy to you, but if you get your branding down to something that you're like, I love this, like this is me, this, like maybe you're a total retro girl, like, and it's the like rainbows and the retro fonts and all that type of stuff, and you post and you're just like, you're lit up because you're like, I love the way this looks, I love that this totally represents me. And that inspires you to become a really good storyteller. So that's what we're gonna kind of wrap this with, is number 5 is creating content. Now, based on your ideal avatar and what your brand mission is, how you want to visually represent your brand, it's time to pull it all together and create your content, okay? So writing, copy, storytelling. You guys, I cannot stress this enough. Storytelling is the most important piece of the online space. Storytelling, I can literally sell this mug for thousands and thousands of dollars if I told you a specific story around it. I'm not joking. Or I could sell it for $1. You know what I mean? Like if you're a good storyteller, you get people's attention, they engage with you, they're excited to read what you're writing. And they're excited to read the whole post, okay? So storytelling is important. Now, how do you storytell? You might be like, so once upon a time, that's not what I mean by storytelling. So a great post is made up of 4 things: a hook, a story, education, and a call to action, okay? So your hook is above the fold. So this is the thing that captures people's attention right out the gates. This needs to be the first line, because I will tell you, if your first line is once upon a time there was a girl, then people are gonna be like, snooze fest, I'm gonna keep rolling, even if they like you, to be honest, right? But if your hook is, you know, let me think of a good hook, something that's like, you know, I almost didn't make it to the bathroom. Like something like that, where it's like, oh shit, like what is she talking about, right? Like a little jarring, a little exciting, a little bit scary, right? So like something like that, where it's a little bit of shock value, okay? Your story, facts tell, stories sell. Like I said, you need to be a good storyteller. So while all of this is true, the purpose behind a story is to connect and share. So this is where it's like you're kind of pulling on the heartstring, okay? So like you've hooked, and then it's the heartstring of like, you know, I was out with my kids, and this is a really bad example. I feel like I should come up with a different hook. Maybe it's, you know, we almost went to the ER, okay? And then the story behind it is, you know, I was out with my kids, and, you know, per usual, my oldest is our accident-prone child. Literally, she is. And she was running and tripped and fell, and you heard that blood-curdling scream. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you're mom, right? and ran over to her, picked her up, and all I saw was blood. And so I grabbed her, you know, I ran her back to her car and got her cleaned up and realized she had a gaping gash in her face. And this is not a true story. This is just a story, okay? So in that moment, the old me would have been devastated, sprinting to an ER, the closest ER. But because I have tools and could breathe for a second, I grabbed my oils, and I know that lavender is calming, and I know helichrysum is like a liquid Band-Aid. You probably can't say that in the online space. You have to be compliant, all right? But anyways, you know, helichrysum is great for helping to optimize blood flow. And, you know, I had her grab the Adjective and hold it underneath her nose. I applied lavender up and down her spine, and I just started dabbing the helichrysum on her little cut. And within seconds, the bleeding stopped. You know, like, how many moms have been in that situation? How, even if you're not a mom, how many of us have been in that situation, right? So the third part of this is the education, right? So the education in that is you could have oils or you could not have oils. What are the two different emotional responses that happen when you have oils versus not having oils, okay? So your education is, what do you want them to know? Do you want to answer something for them? Share a new tip. So there's your tip in that story. Maybe share behind the scenes and let them pull themselves into your world, okay? And then a call to action is something like this post, watch my stories, link in bio. Also, I like a call to action of an engagement call. You know, like, has this ever happened to you? Tell me I'm not alone with this. Tell me your story of, you know, when you thought you'd have to go to the ER. This is the like deep nitty gritty of engagement, right? Because you get them with the hook, you pull them in with the story and with the educational tip. Now, when you're talking about stories, this is the other thing that you have to keep in mind. As much as we would love to think that people genuinely care about you and your family and your stories and all the things, people are wanting to consume for themselves. Okay, so in the online space, if you're not sharing something that is a valuable tip, if you're not sharing something that is educational or life-changing or, you know, engaging and heartfelt, this is why people don't engage with your content, okay? So you have to add value. So every time I write something, especially because I do a lot of the writing for our content calendars in OneDrop, so every time I write something, I'm constantly asking myself, if I were the consumer of this, would this add value into my life? So what if you do the call to action and they don't respond? You need to talk it up a little bit more. So that comes back to your engagement. So this workshop is all about branding, but if your engagement sucks and you're not getting people actually looking at your content and you're not getting people actually engaging in your content, are you taking it from a stagnant post into your stories, talking about it in your stories? I will tell you, this is the game is no longer just like post and then let it sit there. Like that ship sailed a long time ago. When you post, you should always share that post to your own stories. You should jump into your stories and you should explain like, oh my gosh, this is what happened. And I cannot tell you, I am so grateful to have these oils in my house. This is why. Go comment on my post. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you've ever been in this situation, right? So, and what you could, Nicole said, what do you consider value? Value is if it's educational. Again, this is why you should know who you're talking to, because if my ideal client is somebody who is a mom, corporate working, you know, busy, but really does care about like a low tox lifestyle, then if I'm sharing about, you know, men's muscle blends, then it kind of falls flat if I'm being honest. But if I share about a teething blend that literally helped my baby sleep through the night, those are the things that fire really well because that's my avatar. Those are my people who I attract, okay? So when you're talking about what adds value, you need to know what, and I've talked about this quite a few times, but you need to know what your pillars are of your own brand. So outside of just aesthetics, you should have at least 4 to 5 pillars of your brand that you talk about. So obviously oils will be one of them, right? But like what else? What else about you can you talk about for like 20 minutes without being prompted, without having to do research? What else do you love? What else, if I followed you around for the day, where else would I see you show up? You know, do you love to hike? Do you love to mountain bike? Do you love to, I don't know, do underwater basket weaving? whatever lights you up. What are the things that you love to do? And I can't answer that for you. Those are your things, and that's why this is your brand specifically. And what happens when you start to incorporate these different pillars is you become multifaceted. It doesn't become just a doTERRA Instagram account. It becomes multifaceted where it's like, oh, I love following her for, you know, nutrition tips. And I love what she talks about with, you know, playtime with her kids. And, you know, she talks about oils, but I love following her for like her playtime tips. And then what ends up happening is maybe somebody's following me for, I don't talk about playtime tips, but maybe someone's following me for playtime tips with my kids, okay? And all of a sudden I start to incorporate like, oh, we made sensory Play-Doh today. And because of that, you know, they all of a sudden, and we use essential oils, then it all of a sudden sparks that like, oh my gosh, I need essential oils. How do I buy those? And so you're taking something that somebody's genuinely curious about, genuinely wanting to learn from you about, and you're trickling in your doTERRA into that, right? I do this a lot with a business call to action, okay? I guess I talk about the business because I have the fundamentals, but like when I'm talking about the business, it's more of I love these oils. We use them for our family. These are my tips and tricks, but like I also can completely show you how to change your life with this business, right? And if that's of interest to you, because I know that's not my main avatar that's in there, but I can guarantee you there's a good chunk of people who are in there who are just sitting back curious, right? So that is, if you don't have your 5 pillars, if you don't know what like the brand of you is, this is what I want you to dive into with this. Not only the aesthetics of this, but to dive into your pillars. And then coming up with content is so much more life-giving, to be honest. You're not just sitting there thinking like, okay, what else do I post about for oils? You can 100% post a story every day about some tip with oils. And you actually should be, to be honest. There's actually quite a few times where I'm like, oh, I should probably post more about just like how much I'm using my oils or what oils I'm using and grabbing. And that's a really simple way to actually just document. So this isn't in your feed. This is just in your stories. Perfect example of this is, you know, we were out playing and my son and daughter were climbing trees at the park, and my son came running over to me and he had gotten sap all over his hands, and the kid hates to be sticky. He's a little bit of my sensory child, and so like he ran over to the water fountain, tried washing it off. Y'all know that didn't work. And so he came over to me and he's like, Mom, my hands are covered in sap and they're so sticky. I need to get this off now. And so all I had in my car was an adaptive roller touch, and I just rolled it on his fingers and it got a lot of the stickiness off. But then when we got home, I just took our lemon oil and dripped like 4 or 5 drops, and he rubbed his hands together and it was completely off. Right? And so it's just documenting those little things where it's like, hey, I didn't have to use any toxic cleaners, because y'all know to get that stuff off, if you don't have oils, you would be using some type of toxic cleaner, right? And so it's just documenting. I want to give you permission to just document. You don't have to have this like beautifully curated feed and these perfect stories. The reason why I've gotten good at social media is I've been really okay with just documenting and pivoting if something doesn't feel good, changing my branding if it doesn't resonate anymore. You have full permission, and that's actually a really cool thing about building your own brand is you can shift whenever you feel like it, okay? But what happens a lot is there's a lot of paralysis in this, and you think, oh my gosh, this is going to take me forever to do this. So we're going to keep going, and I want to talk to you guys. I gave you a sheet to kind of write out a sample, but I want to talk to you guys about batching your stuff. So first I'm going to go through a little social media checklist with you. Now, this is the thing, is aesthetics do matter. So what I want you to do is I want you to document in your stories, because your stories is already your audience. Your stories are already the people who have tapped on the follow button. They want to get to know you more. So allow them to get to know you more behind the scenes, okay? So your stories, you are doing at least 6 to 10 stories a day. And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot, Keely. It's not. Each story is 15 seconds, guys. It's literally like 2 to 3 minutes of your life, okay? So you're going to be doing your stories, and that's where you're documenting, okay? It doesn't need to be curated, doesn't need to be perfect, just show up consistently. Your posts, you're doing at least 1 to 2 posts a day, especially if you have a newer account. And then Reels, honestly, Reels are the top performing. Reels and carousels right now are some of the top performing items. And carousels don't need to be long. If you don't even know what a carousel is, it's where you have to like swipe to keep reading. Okay, so like you can even take your one-drop photo and say you have your branding and you have certain aesthetics in your Canva folder. You can use like, say it's a thyroid blend. My top thyroid blend could be the cover picture, and then they swipe and that's where they see the one-drop picture that maybe isn't as quite in alignment with your aesthetics, okay? Yes, Tiffany, stories is Instagram or Facebook. Yep. Okay, so you're going to make sure that you have a beautiful image. And again, you can grab that from OneDrop. You're going to make sure, does your copy serve a purpose? Again, don't post just to like get something out there. A lot of times people do that and it falls flat and then they get discouraged. Post because you feel heart pulled to post about something, or because you feel like this is going to add value to your audience, okay? Does your copy have a call to action? Are your hashtags relevant? Y'all know that you can do up to 30 hashtags, right? So 30 hashtags. And the reason why you want to do hashtags is it's the search engine of social media. So you want to do up to 30 hashtags. And hashtags are really, really simple to niche down, but they do take some time to sit and kind of look at what hashtags you want to address, okay? On your personal stories, or do you need a business page? You can do personal. I recommend people have a creator account or a business account. You just get insights and analytics when it comes to Instagram versus a personal page. You don't get a lot with a personal page. So yeah, I would do a business page. I actually would do a creator page, to be honest, because then normally you get full access to everything that Instagram is offering currently. Music, insights, all that stuff. Cool? Okay, so are your hashtags relevant? And I like to do my hashtags in the first comment. I feel like it just aesthetically clutters the post if I put them into the actual post, okay? So let's talk batching. I'm going to try to wrap this up soon, okay? Would 1 reel per week work best? No. I mean, honestly, I would rather you do 5 reels per week and 2 to 3 stagnant posts per week. Guys, reels are where it's at. Don't resist it. Just embrace it. And honestly, if you're feeling like you need some inspiration, I actually have the TikTok app on my phone, not because I'm on TikTok. I am, but I'm not. But for inspiration, scroll through there, see what other people are doing, see what's working, see what's fun. I will tell you, I have the weirdest reels that go viral, but reels are a really easy way for people to engage. Okay. Do you update and research hashtags? I do. I change them. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And actually your analytics now will show you what has driven to your page from your hashtags, which is amazing. So, I have a business account. Should I change it to a creator? Do you have music? Most of the time people, if they don't have music, I tell them to change it to a creator. I've taken your advice on the post and it worked. Look at that. She might know what she's talking about. Thanks, babe. Okay, so batching your content. Let's get through this and I'll get through some resources and then we'll do a little Q&A. Okay, so it's 5 p.m. The day seems to get away from you again and you ask yourself, do I post, right? We've all been there. Don't think that I'm not you, okay? Then you settle on posting tomorrow and just to start the process over and over and over again, right? It's like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. Okay, so I want you guys to set aside a night each week. I actually do this on Sundays, and I make my VA hold me accountable to it, but you're gonna create your own content calendar, okay? So you're gonna outline your week. You can do this, I do it week by week just because I feel like it's so much less daunting, and normally my life changes a little bit week by week, and so I'm normally wanting to try to figure out like, okay, what does my audience need this week, okay? So, you're going to pick a theme of the month or a theme of the week, and then you're going to pick what days you are selling and what days you're providing value. So we're sticking to an 80-20 rule here, okay? So out of 7 days of the week, at least 6 of them are going to be adding value, and 1 day is going to be hey, this is how you get my private promotion, this is how you get your starter kit, you know, come into my one-on-one class, whatever it is, okay? So you're going to pull or create your own content. So you can log into your OneDrop. We obviously have tons of stock photography in there, or you can take your own pictures of what you want to share for the week and do this all in one day. Like go in and download your content for the week from OneDrop, or take the pictures that you need. Or if you're really savvy and you want to create your own stuff, you can jump in and create your own stuff, okay? So then you're going to outline and write your copy. So you're going to make sure that this all looks good, and I'm going to give you guys the app that I use for that, okay? So you're going to make sure that the copy, again, follows our hook, story, education, and our call to action, okay? Those are the 4 things I want you to think of now when you're posting. And then you're going to schedule your posts in real time, and you can use an app like Facebook Creator, Preview, Planoly, can schedule your posts, but I don't like an auto scheduler. I actually really hate it. I always manually post my stuff. So for posting, I use the app called Preview. I've used it for 2 years now. I've tried Planoly. I've tried Plan, Plann. What else have I tried? I've tried Later. There's a lot of them out there that you can curate your feed for Instagram. I personally just think Preview does a phenomenal job. They're always cutting edge. And there's a free version, which I love, okay? Unless you have multiple businesses and you're running multiple Instagram accounts, you can use the free version, okay? So it's just Preview app, and we actually have linked it in here. So all of these resources I'm going over with you are linked in here, okay? So obviously OneDrop, that's why you're here, right? So OneDrop actually takes a ton of the blunt work, the heavy lifting off your shoulders, especially if you're not a great photographer or you're not a great content creator, okay? What I love to do is I love to find specific contributors that I really like their aesthetic and it matches my branding, or it's close enough to my branding, okay? So find your contributors. You guys do hopefully know that you can follow contributors. You can also create your own boards in OneDrop where, you know, if you have the time and you go in and you want to create your own board for, say, the month of, you know, April, then you can pull in your content and you can actually save whatever photos or graphics into that board, okay? OneDrop has been amazing for my business and has made me look really good. Yeah. We have a massive, massive library for anyone doing doTERRA, and we'll make you look real good. And by we, I mean all of our contributors, not me. So you want to get your OneDrop subscription, okay? So make sure you have that. Get the unlimited subscription. I promise you it's worth every single penny. It's actually astronomically affordable, okay? Number 2 is Canva. If you have not played in Canva yet, I want to encourage you to create an account. We've linked it in here for you guys, but Canva is just a basic, my phone's pausing. Okay, Canva is incredible. So you want to make sure that you get a Canva account. Looks like my phone's trying to update. So next thing is your Preview app. That's free. And then the last thing is our Facebook Creator, which I don't know if you guys know this, but Facebook Creator can help you create and schedule your posts for both platforms in one space for free, okay? So those are the 4 apps that I would recommend highly. That is your branding 101 in 50 minutes. And you have like a 20-page ebook that'll get uploaded today. So I will link that in here. But hopefully this honestly just gave you some insight that the brand of you is super valuable. Okay. The brand of you is what people need. It's what people want. They don't need another me. Believe me, this world does not need another me. But the brand of you is exactly what so many people are searching for. And don't forget that it's really, really easy, especially in network marketing, to look side to side at what everyone else is doing and to think, God, they're doing it right. They're finding all this success. No, people find success because they stay in their creative genius. That is why people find success. And that same success is waiting for you. You have to accept that, like, your brand of you is just as valuable as my brand, and you can be just as successful and just as magnetic to your audience. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful. I have no clue what's going on with my phone right now. It's literally screaming at me. So I'm going to jump off, but this recording will stay in here. This is a totally free training. I'm going to start doing workshops in here just on social media and this type of stuff, because I know that it's one thing to have this massive library in OneDrop and to be able to scan through it, but it's another thing to learn how to implement it in a way where you feel like, oh my gosh, this is me, and this is exactly how I want to show up. And it allows you to be super versatile in the online space, where whether it's doTERRA or, whatever you're excited to share about, you can share it with authenticity and not feel like, oh shoot, but my page is just an oil page. No, you're so much more than just oils. Okay. Like, I want to give you full permission. Okay. So I love you guys. I hope that this was helpful. Comment below if you like workshops like this. I know we've done Q&As honestly for probably over a year, but if you guys like these type of workshops and there's something that you would love for me to train you on, just comment below. I'll come back in here and I'll scan through the comments, and I'm creating a workshop a month for you guys. So I'll make sure that I'm showing up and adding that value for you. Okay. All right, guys. Love you so much. Yeah. OneDrop, somebody said, are the OneDrop designers diverse? Yes, we have over 200, almost 250 content creators. So very diverse crowd. Yeah, we love it. It's very inclusive. That's what we love about it. All right. Okay, guys. Love you lots. We'll chat with you later.